Don't be someone that you aren't and act as if. Two sentiments, two quotes that might seemingly be at odds with one another. How do we reconcile them? Are they at odds with one another? Can you do both? Well, don't be someone you aren't. This just simply means stay true to your core values, beliefs, and your character traits, while possibly working on your character traits, while possibly working on things to actually change certain things about yourself, even at a fundamental and character-based level. What I mean by that is, for example, I will often look at photos of, I will see young men, guys that are in maybe high school or college or just out of college, even maybe some old photos of myself when I was a young man, when I was just getting started in the world. And I will see a certain uncertainty in the eyes of these men, a certain lack of confidence. And I just sometimes want to sit down and talk with them and explain to them the importance of having certainty of purpose in life and having confidence and having a vision. Certainly, I don't think a 16 or 17 or 18-year-old should have it all completely figured out. I mean, they are still learning, they are still growing, even their brain is still developing in some cases if you get young enough. I do get that. But once you get to be 18, 19 and older, a person, especially a man, should start to develop some kind of certainty of purpose about where he's going. And this certainty of purpose should translate into, actual actions in his life, actual habits, daily and weekly habits, short-term and long-term goals. And having these goals in place and having this certainty of purpose, or at least this vision in place, even if it's just a general vision, will give this young man a certain look about him. If you were to take a photo, perhaps, of these young men that had developed this certainty of purpose versus those that hadn't, I think you would be able to tell the difference probably just from a photo. You would be able to see the conviction, or at least some semblance of calm in their face, in their eyes, in their countenance. And certainly, if you talk to them in real life or saw them in real life, you would notice this versus the rudderless, directionless young man, or the young man that is lacking confidence. And this doesn't just have to be young people. It certainly can be middle-aged people or older. And it's sad when that happens. But the point is, I started off with, don't be someone you aren't, which is true. You come from a certain place, you have parents, you have interests, you have, certain proclivities one way or the other. But at the same time, you will need to chisel your character where you want it to go. And I think one of the first steps, again, is developing this vision, developing this certainty of purpose, because this will develop your character. In a sense, you're like a Michelangelo working on a block of marble. And the way it develops your character, I just went over it. It will give you confidence, it will give you courage, and it will give you probably enthusiasm towards learning and getting better. And all of that translates to a positive change in character. So you're not being someone you aren't, but you're beginning to act as if, because you've developed a vision. You're accumulating, hopefully daily, more confidence, more skills towards that. Don't be someone you aren't means don't come across and say, oh, I'm just starting off in the, name it. I'm just starting off in a certain business field, and you're talking to people and you're claiming that you're much more successful already than you are, that your business is grossing $3 million a year and you've got 5 employees, etc. Obviously, that's just straight up lying. So that is certainly a case of being someone that you aren't, and don't do that. But acting as if It's not dishonesty. It's adopting a mindset and behaviors that align with your aspirations. You're embodying qualities and habits of who you want to become through deliberate action. And what I was speaking to earlier about the confidence, cultivating a vision, cultivating a certainty of purpose, this is deliberate action. There are different kinds of people in the world. And I'm not just going to say there are two kinds, because sometimes you'll hear someone say, oh, there are two kinds of people in the world. There are this and that. Which are you? Well, there are more than two kinds of people in the world. But for this example, and in this realm, this field, there are two kinds of people in this particular aspect right here that I'm about to talk about. There are deliberate people, and there are non-deliberate people. People that are just kind of floating through life. They get the best paying job they can. They wake up and they, in a comatose state, drive to their place of employment in the morning, and they work 5 days a week. And in a comatose state, they drive home and sit in front of the TV, worn out from the day's work, go to bed and do it again the next day. And, as Henry David Thoreau said, most men lead lives of quiet desperation. Those are, unfortunately, in many cases, non-deliberate people. A deliberate person does develop that vision. Then around that vision, he develops certainty of purpose. Purpose meaning the actions you take to achieve that purpose, to achieve that long-term vision. And then in doing so, this is obviously the very definition of deliberate action. An example, aspiring to run $1 million business, practice strategic thinking, professionalism, study biographies of people that have had great success in those businesses, that perhaps have built those businesses from the ground up, and emulate their strategies, emulate their habits if you think that incorporating them will help you in your business. So this is acting as if. This is not being someone you are not. This is accumulating new knowledge and acting as if. And often acting as if is 75% or more of the battle. I once talked to a man that had been in a very successful life. He had a great family, a great wife, kids. He had a successful business. And he told me that, he said, let me tell you something. He said, confidence, have confidence, and you're more than halfway there already. But always have confidence. Don't lose that confidence. Confidence must be cultivated daily, lest it blow away in the winds of uncertainty, lest it blow away in the chaos of life that will inevitably come towards you. Because you can be confident as all get out today, and maybe it carries over into tomorrow. But then inevitably the vicissitudes of life, chaos will happen, other things will happen. Perhaps you have a family and all these other concerns will come along and you'll kind of forget about. So confidence has to be built. Courage has to be built daily. And it's best, obviously, to do this in the morning when you first wake up. This is acting as if. Have a routine in the morning to remind you of your vision, to remind you of your certainty of purpose. And then from there, you can branch off and have deliberate actions for the day, for the week. I've talked about it on a previous video, but even just very small wins every day or 5 days a week during the work week. Small wins, little things, compound obviously over time. Don't fake success to impress others. Don't do that. That is, people will often see right through that. People are a lot smarter and gain a lot more knowledge from just the words that they hear. They say, 80% of communication is nonverbal. And plus, if you do that, you're harming yourself. If you fake success, if you lie to impress others, not only will they likely see through it, but you're actually harming your own spirit. You're harming your own psyche. Being honest and authentic and improving yourself through acting as if and emulating virtuous, successful, dare I say, noble people that have gone before you on the shoulders of giants, as they say. Emulating these people and acting as if and being authentic to your true self provides an inner strength. It does the opposite of faking it, which depletes you of your inner strength. It provides you, it's like a fountain, a perpetual fountain within you that gives you inner strength. So, in summary, saying don't be someone you aren't. Don't be someone you aren't. That equals integrity. Not being someone you aren't equals integrity. Acting as if equals growth. That's all I got today.